Okay, so this video is for grown folk. It's not for anyone under the age of, I'll say 22, 25. Um, so anyway, I grew up during the Wild West of the internet, and there were times when I watched scary movies, some of which were full of graphic material and gore and stuff. And I don't recommend that you watch that kind of stuff, certainly not in high doses, um, unless you have a really strong mind and a strong stomach, okay? But, at a certain point, I started watching these Saw movies, the ones featuring Jigsaw, the infamous guy who sets people up in like death traps and, basically he forces them into life or death situations and claims he's never murdered them because, of course, he's not the one to proactively kill his victims. Anyway, sorry if that's a bit too yucky to mention outright. So eventually I landed upon this idea that, like, specifically during times when I watched material that was negative or something, or it made me feel gross after I watched it, and herein I'm talking about movies like the Saw movies or Hostel or stuff like that that's super dark, I would donate something to a charity or maybe write a nice note for someone. So I understand there's some idea about media as a form of like spiritual warfare. So particularly if I feel kind of attacked in some sense by the darkness in it, like a TV show or a movie, um, that sort of calls for an occasion to do something good for someone, so as to not pollute the heart with any form of like corruption. So I'm not perfectly disciplined with this practice, but sometimes you're curious and you want to watch, I don't know, some Freddy Krueger movie or something that's kind of graphic and leaves you feeling unsettled. So if you don't want that kind of experience to seep into your nerves and weigh you down with this feeling of like a dark cloud being overhead, then you can commit to doing like helpful things on those occasions when you watch graphic material. Um, so I guess, if Jigsaw were a real guy, I would hope that he would like survey all my decisions, public and private, and then he would be like, I want to play a game, but not with you because you're kind of okay. And he would just leave me alone or something. Um, that's supposed to be the point of media, right? In different ways, your relationship to media is supposed to ennoble you. It's supposed to better you morally. So if it doesn't do that through providing direct instruction or positive examples, then it can do that through demonstrating anti-models or examples of what you don't want to be like. So Jigsaw from the Saw series infamously kidnaps people and then he imposes vigilante justice upon them for things that are sort of moral crimes of sorts. And so the opposite of that is somebody who doesn't impose themselves on others and does in fact help them in various ways and boost their well-being and not set them up in various kinds of death traps. So, it's just something to think about. If you are properly training during your solitary time or your downtime, you will be able to contour almost any piece, any media, into making you better. Okay? So you got to keep fighting the good fight. You have to keep your conscience clean no matter what happens. Got to keep the soul pure. Okay? I don't know a whole lot about religion at this point. I studied it pretty intensely, like maybe from 17 to 23, but I don't know, I just think that it's going to be difficult to be really healthy across time unless you keep your conscience clean, you keep your hands clean, okay? It doesn't matter how often certain kinds of dark characters are portrayed as these badasses, like ending up in that situation is going to leave you miserable if you even begin to slightly emulate like an asshole, you know. Eventually you're going to feel dirty and disgusting. Um, so you got to keep living as though God is watching. And if you don't believe in God, you have to live as though there's some kind of morally beautiful figure watching you, you know. You cannot let the darkness of the world turn your heart into something dark. And if you do notice that you're getting turned into something that is unpalatable to your conscience, then what you have to do is stop that or alert the right people, or in the last sort of worst case scenario, you have to limit the scope of your influence or impact on others. So yeah, once again, this is only intended for the grown folk in the room, but I don't know, the well-lived life is one in which you're continuously shaping yourself into something that you respect and admire. Thank you for watching and have a good day, and God bless you.